Story 1. Buying something online from a smallish company, and you get a handwritten letter. Once, I even received sweets because the person who ordered it for me told them it was my birthday. Story 2. My cat thinks he is the best at hiding. He is nearly blind, so he does not know that his cover is usually a lot smaller than him. I will stare straight into his eyes and ask where he went, saying that he is the best hider. After a minute or two, he will jump out of his hiding spot and run over to me. I will say, "There he is," then pet his head. He looks so proud of himself every time. Story 3. I put out this tiny bowl on the ground next to my bird bath for the sparrows. They are too cautious to jump in the larger bath, even though they can totally stand up in it, but will splash around in groups like the happiest little birds in the tiny bowl. I refill it multiple times a day, and they are on it the second it is refilled. Story 4. I live in the southern United States. I picked up my grandkids from school and saw 2 white and 2 black young men, 12 to 14 years old, get in the same car at the pickup line. It makes me so happy to see that our younger generation doesn't care as much about the color of a person's skin, unlike my white generation and baby boomer parents, especially in the current political climate with so much hate. Story 5. My cats make this purr sound in the cutest pitches. It always sounds like a question. Sometimes I'll be able to talk to them and they'll respond, and we'll go back and forth. We get to have what feels like a pleasant conversation, only without anyone understanding the other. I love those buddies and love how often they come to chat with me. Story 6. What would always bring a smile to my face is witnessing an unexpected act of kindness. Like when someone lends a hand without expecting anything in return. Those small actions, though simple, have a special power to remind us that empathy and generosity can transform any day. Story 7. I was sitting at a table at the library one day, and a baby crawled over, pulled himself up on the chair next to me, and just stood there for a bit. I said, "Hi there," and he smiled. I'm still happy about it. Story 8. This tiny human, my 3-year-old. When I go to pick her up from kindergarten and she runs towards me with the biggest smile and jumps into my lap. It's a flashback as well. I used to do that with my own dad. It's consistently my favorite part of the day. Story 9. Last week, I was driving on Main Street in Mesa, Arizona. At a stoplight, there was a guy in a wheelchair trying to cross at the light. His wheels got a bit tangled on the curb, so he was not going to make it across before the light changed. Another kid on a bicycle rode up beside him, grabbed the wheelchair, and started pulling him across the intersection. I have never witnessed something like that, and it restored my faith in humanity and the younger generation. It makes me smile every time I think about that. Story 10. I've always had a dog until the last few years. I'm disabled, but I'm also a full-time carer for my seriously ill husband, so having my own dog is definitely not a possibility. It just wouldn't be fair to the dog. So these days, I live vicariously through everyone online who shares wonderful little videos and cute pictures of their dogs. I'm a member of so many dog groups, charities, and individual dog pages across the world. It's nuts. It's not the same as having my own, obviously, but it'll do, and they make me smile. What more can I ask for? Story 11. Making some small, stupid, harmless mistakes. I work so hard all day trying to be an adult. It just makes me feel like a human instead of a perfection robot. Story 12. The casual exchange of appreciative glances you sometimes share with attractive strangers in public. You know, the thing where they see you check them out for just a second, then they themselves give you a little once-over, and then you both just kind of smile a little knowingly before carrying on your separate ways. It happened to me the other day, and I was smiling for like a whole 2 minutes afterward. Story 13. Quite a lot of things. Probably the most common one is seeing people. I just can't help but smile at people when I speak to them or make eye contact as we are walking by. I think it's more about me not liking being perceived as just another guy who can't be nice or kind to others, even though it's not that deep. I understand the importance of what a simple smile can do for others, especially strangers, as I've had my day completely brightened by strangers around. It might be funny, but I take pride in being a genuinely compassionate human being to others. I've experienced enough challenges in my short life to know that we all go through difficult things. Story 14. Animals just existing and doing their natural behaviors. Succeeding at a creative project I did not think would turn out so great. And a sweet, thoughtful compliment makes me smile too. Story 15. I was in the supermarket yesterday. A woman in front of me knocked an empty box off the shelf, turned around, glanced at the box on the floor, and then just walked off. Without thinking, I just picked it up and put it back on the side. A young lad saw all this and, as he walked past, made eye contact and gave a small nod. I took this nod to mean, well done, mate. Some people are just a bit careless, aren't they? Thanks for sorting it out. Made me feel good all the way to the crisp aisle. Story 16. Okay, I got a few. 1. Good food when you're hungry, like Chinese food for me. When you overcomplicate something, thinking it will be hard or difficult, but it goes really smoothly and simply. Animals, like a parrot, a cute dog such as a Pomeranian, and a kitten, especially the fluffy ones though. Story 17. Seeing my dog and my boyfriend be best friends. My dog doesn't like strangers, and it takes a long time for him to be comfortable around someone. He loves my boyfriend so much, and they're so cute together. Story 18. I drive a school bus. I have over 40 kids on board. One of my high schoolers, who sits in the back of the bus, has a particularly authentic laugh. I can hear him laugh over the din of 40 kids. His laugh makes me smile every time. He doesn't laugh out loud often, so it makes my day when he does. Story 19. I recently had a hospital appointment and had to take my 2.5-year-old daughter with me. She was moving through like a whirlwind, being slow, getting in everyone's way, etc. But in every corridor and every room, she had people smiling at her. Everyone was just going about their day, and seeing them smile is just heartwarming. Story 20. When you have not seen someone in a while and you get this big hug that you always remember forever. Stuff like this happens in goodbyes and hellos at the airport. I cherish those like it is the first time meeting that person again. Feels nice. Story 21. Apart from all very relatable things mentioned, I think to me, receiving a text, letter, or any form of communication from a friend or acquaintance who may not be in sync with what is going on in my life, but solely out of nowhere, they send a text or a meme, no matter how random or unintentional. The thought of someone having kept me in their thoughts and even acted on it and reached out. That gesture brings a smile. Story 22. When I receive compliments outside from girls or women, food, money, when my boyfriend compliments me, hugs me, or kisses me, the thought of how big my baby kitten is getting. Story 23. Apart from many other things that others have mentioned. 1. Trains speeding by. 2. A giant airplane flying overhead. 3. Watching and hearing gray, thundery skies from inside a cozy room. But this also makes me sad thinking about homeless people at the same time. 4. A skyline or city view from a high-rise building. 5. A view of Earth from outer space. Story 24. Sincere compliments always make me smile, no matter how much I try to play it cool. About 6 months ago, someone told me they liked the sound of my voice, and I swear I've been riding that high ever since. Story 25. People having fun in a wholesome, non-rambunctious way, like a pet owner playing with their dogs, children in the park, families bonding on a picnic date, a group of friends watching over a child because the mother needs to go to the bathroom, 2 friends waving excitedly at each other, or a stranger in the subway smiling over a paperback. Things like that. Story 26. Seeing a random act of kindness, like someone holding the door for a stranger or sharing their umbrella, always brings a smile to my face. It's a little reminder that there's goodness in the world. Story 27. Spotted my Frenchie staring at me so intensely yesterday, like when someone looks at you with such love and admiration that you can feel it. I love that he loves me so much. Story 28. As soon as I get home, my puppy waits for me to sit on the couch and then jumps in my lap, and we snuggle for about 15 minutes. If I am ever having a bad day, I know I have this waiting for me at home. Story 29. Religion. I saw a video of a guy camping while vlogging, and before he would eat his meal, he prayed. Something so simple and pure is rare nowadays, and it gave me a warm, comfy feeling. I don't really pray or anything like that, but it was so nice seeing someone else do it. Story 30. A baby in glasses, seeing mountains in the distance. The way my dog's ears move up and down when he walks. Handwritten notes or cards from friends or significant others. Story 31. When a stranger shares a joke with me, I work at a cafe, and while I'm not exactly depressed on shift, the days can get long, boring, and monotonous. Every once in a while, I'll get a customer, usually a dad with his family, who cracks a joke, and we have a bit of banter. It's such a small thing, and it only lasts a few seconds, but it really perks me up and gives me a little boost. Story 32. Seeing someone actually listen to their child. They speak mostly nonsense, but it makes me feel so warm when you can tell the child knows their parents really listen to them. Story 33. The children in the neighborhood. With all the things kids are expected to do these days, it's nice to see them actually being able to enjoy themselves. You only get one childhood. Story 34. Seeing parents being kind to their kids when they are struggling, having a tantrum, or whatever. I saw a lady at a garden center recently who was talking her distraught toddler through big feelings and how it was okay to have them, that she would always be there to help her. I had to turn away because it literally brought a tear to my eye. You could feel how much she loved her daughter. It was just so sweet. Gentle parenting becoming a thing warms my heart. Story 35. Rainbow colors. I love seeing little patches of color in a world that's becoming increasingly dull. The faux flower aisle in Walmart is one of my favorites because it's so overwhelmingly colorful. Story 36. Silly animal stories in general. Pesto the giant baby penguin, the sink frog saga on TikTok. Jamila the baby gorilla delivered by a human obstetrician at the Fort Worth Zoo who was rejected by her mother and later had to be sent to a zoo in Cleveland, where she was immediately adopted by a foster gorilla mom. Also, those everyone's dad guys on social media who genuinely want to teach all of us how to do things like checking oil, changing tires, fixing a leaky faucet, cleaning a dryer vent. They seem to understand that not everyone has a project dad or a dad at all and want to share their knowledge. My husband has taken on a couple of plumbing issues because of kind men like that. Story 37. When I take my baby girl out shopping, for a walk, wherever, I catch so many random people looking at her and smiling, genuinely smiling at a stranger. And then I'm smiling too. I'm amazed that I created this tiny human who spreads joy wherever she goes. Story 38. When I am in another room and call my cat's name, I hear her little BRRRP chirp, which I'm convinced translates to, "Right here, mama." And then the little pad as she trots in. The sweetest. Story 39. My foolish pet toad is trying hard to get out of the water, and he's too oblivious to realize he can just climb up on the rocks. He's just splashing around. He's fine, just unaware. Story 40. Sometimes my fiancé will just volunteer to do a bit of the housework for me that I plan to do. Maybe I was going to cook the dinner and she does it instead. Something like that to let me rest and relax. Always makes me smile a little even on the bad days. Story 41. Every once in a while, I remember how much my grandfather's second wife truly hates being on a broken-down farm in the middle of rural Texas, instead of a house in Plano like she thought he would buy. Story 42. People smiling at each other. I still do it. I was taught as a child to always be polite first and smile at strangers. As an adult, it still makes my heart patter when an older lady or gentleman smiles back as we pass in the store. Stupid and small, but meaningful. Story 43. I was a churchgoer almost every single week of my life until 4 years ago. I am now 56. Waking up every Sunday after sleeping as long as I want to will never fail to make me smile. You'll never catch me in a bad mood on Sunday. Story 44. People who smile at strangers. I feel this is a habit of people in Chicago, to nod or smile as you pass. Obviously not in every situation, but as a general thing. If I see people who do not, I always think they are not from here. I live in a neighborhood where I do not speak the language, but we still do the Chicago nod. I am older, maybe this sweet thing is no longer common or expected. Story 45. Children engaged in gleeful chaos. Toddlers running down an aisle, kids with sparklers, a child cutting their sibling's hair. The sheer freedom and intense ecstasy on their faces gets me every time. I'll still catch them or prevent harm with a smile. Story 46. Honestly, I've been friends with benefits with this girl for almost 3 years, and she knows me so well that she can just tell when I'm having an off day. She'll just send me a picture of her breasts, and it cheers me right up. I don't know how she knows, but she always knows. Oh, and dogs too. If I'm just out doing something and I see a dog and the owner lets me pet it, that always makes me smile too. Story 47. There are these little boys in my cul-de-sac who are always riding their bikes around and have jumps and things. Yesterday, one was on his bike with training wheels, bare feet on pedals, racing me as I drove down the street. Reminds me of my brothers and me when we tore up the neighborhood on big wheels. Story 48. I do not have children. People's babies and toddlers seem drawn to me. I have had toddlers run from their parents and hold on to me. Babies snatch at my face in the elevator and stare at me fixedly even when I avert my eyes. These encounters sometimes end with smiles from the baby and the parent, and that puts a smile on my face. Story 49. When my cat hops up to sit next to me, she loves my wife too, but she only sits like this with me. She's sitting next to me right now, and it makes me happy. Story 50. I bought a bird bath a couple of years ago and put it in view of my kitchen window. I love watching the birds and squirrels drink and bathe in it while I'm doing dishes. It's such a small thing, but it makes me so happy.